What up, guys? Mad Viking here. I don't know what it's been other than a trying long week. I know I promised this, I don't know, quite some time ago. So much stuff happened recently in the last couple days. One big particular issue finally got me inspired enough to sit down and do this. And possibly shoot this off before I go to work. But anyways, let's just start with some already known news. Like I said, some of this has been sitting around now for a while. It's just, like I said, I just didn't get to it. All right, you have 225 Punk versus Jackson. Punk did not win this fight. He did manage to go 3 rounds. People are saying he got annihilated. I don't agree with that. The guy he was fighting, they might have weighed the same. I don't know how that class worked out, weight class worked out, or how that match worked out, other than they both fought Mickey Gall for their first MMA fight. But this guy was a professional boxer. He had reach, which means his arms were longer than Punk's, his legs were longer than Punk's, his body was longer than Punk's. And you can't tell me that's not an advantage, especially to a boxer. Well, Punk hung in there, but he's little. He didn't really seem all that muscular. I don't know. He did hang in there. The guy did admit to toying with him, which he did. Somewhere around in the second round, he just started going off script and was just totally disrespecting the sport in the match. If he thought he was toying with CM Punk and it was so easy to beat him, then why didn't he beat him? He even admitted post-fight he couldn't knock him out. He said he hit him 7 times hard. And he said he knew he hurt the guy, but he didn't knock him out. And he said that was his intention, was to knock him out. Well, he never knocked him out, and CM Punk hung in there for 3 rounds. And nobody mentions the fact that that guy was gassed the 3rd round. CM Punk hung in there, and he was gassed. But this guy was gassed the 3rd round. He couldn't go the distance either. So, but anyway, Dana White basically said, CM Punk, it's over. You're 39 years old. We gave you 2 shots. He is under contract for another match. It probably won't happen, but UFC owns like every MMA company there is. Bellator will put anybody into a ring, not to knock Bobby Lashley's career, but they'll put anybody into the ring for $1. I mean, CM Punk, if he made as much money as he did in the last fight, he's made $1 million for 2 UFC fights. So he definitely doesn't need wrestling right now. But he could pop up again. He did improve. I mean, he was doing some stuff in there that was pretty impressive, but this guy had advantage over him. And CM Punk was never an athlete in sports or in school. He didn't do anything whatsoever other than got into professional wrestling. This guy's been training for MMA, and he was a professional boxer with tons of matches under his belt. He had more going for him. Like I said, in body-wise, too. Punk was just outmatched. And I'm not saying Punk could have beat him, because Punk laid some good hits on that guy, too. And the guy would be frazzled a little bit, but all it did was piss him off. Punk did not have any muscle tone. He just couldn't compete with the guy. So Punk's UFC career is over. And funny thing with that, of course, the week of that fight was CM Punk's court case with the WWE and Dr. Maul, which he did win, by the way. I think that was just the WWE's way of screwing with him to get in his head before his fight. But if that wasn't enough, of course, Corey Graves, his so-called best friend, decided to start Twitter jabbing at CM Punk the day of his fight, calling him out for not talking to him anymore, or hanging out with him, or supposedly not talking to him anymore because he works for the WWE. And he ran Twitter up all day long until literally the hour of this fight. And after the fight, he started with it again, even claiming he wants to fight CM Punk now. It's funny though, the day after the fight, all of Corey Graves' Twitter stopped. Do I think the WWE put him up to it? Yeah, I think I do. And if this is a guy who's so hurt because CM Punk doesn't talk to him anymore, do you think starting a fight with him on Twitter is going to resolve that situation? No. So, Corey Graves is not a 2-year-old. I think he knew that going into it. So, yeah, Corey Graves, you're a D-bag. Okay, Kenny Omega and Okada's match at whatever it was, just Wrestle Kingdom or whatever the hell it was. If you have not seen the highlights of this or the match, you need to watch it. It's being called not a great match, not a good match, the greatest match of all time. Not one of the greatest match of all time. I saw their last fight, and it was good. It kind of blew me away. This match just totally stunned me. They were doing moves that I've never seen before and couldn't even figure out how they were pulling them off just like that. It was an amazing, just star-studded fight. It's supposed to be the end of their feud, but I'll probably, if I remember, because this takes so long to upload, I'm going to put a link in the descriptions to help you guys to see it. All the top matches, the Young Bucks versus LOJ, and Chris Jericho versus Naito. Even that match was damn good. Freaking Naito took like a 10-minute beating. He got jumped by Jericho straight out of the gate, and all he was doing was getting beaten silly. Jericho did end up winning that match with a code breaker. The Young Bucks did beat I want to say the LIJ. I knew I was saying it wrong. For the heavyweight tag team titles, yes, they have moved up to heavyweight. So now they have, well, I shouldn't say those titles back, but now they're, once again, IWGP tag team champions. And it's funny because all of the New Japan titles, this is the first time ever in history that every belt is being held by a foreigner, not a national from the company. So obviously I think it's their move going mainstream, you know, because they're running shows now in America. It's to bring in more viewers. They're, along with Ring of Honor, they were trying to book Madison Square Garden here coming up in the future. And of course, all the dirt sheets and shit reported on it, so the WWE just squashed that altogether. That's not going to happen, at least not the date that they wanted to have it happen. Oh yeah, there's also the match Bullet Club versus Mysterio, Hiroshi, Tanahashi, and Liger. That was a pretty good match, but Mysterio's team lost to the Bullet Club, which was like Marty Scurll and Hangman and can't remember who the other guy was. But if you haven't learned yet, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, they kind of, I can't say the Young Bucks were with Cody, but they were with Cody. Kenny Omega's kind of been absent from the group, but they all got back together and they formed the Golden Elite now. It's Kenny with Kota Ibushi and, of course, the Young Bucks. Now, that's the first faction that started in this little tiff. It hasn't, I'm assuming it's going to go full bore at All In. That's going to be the big, no, because it's not even Kenny anymore versus Cody. It's Cody versus Magnus or Nick Aldis. Maybe they're squashing that feud. I don't know. WWE canceled the King of the Ring UK tournament that was going to be held in May. I don't know why. Possibly later in the summer, I guess, but it won't be in the UK. They might bring it back for an actual WWE stateside event. Supposedly Ronda Rousey is not happy with the build-up with the Nia Jax match and current role as a character she's having. That's her biggest flaw. After watching Money in the Bank, I have nothing to say against her wrestling or selling or anything. But I do have plenty to say against her acting because her acting sucks. It's no wonder she's like silent in most of the films she's in because she just has no range. And that's what she's pissed about, having to memorize lines. I guess I probably fast forwarded her last segment on Raw before the Money in the Bank match where she was at the announcer's booth and she kept saying her line over and over again. I guess she got confused. Something about, only my husband calls me something. Or, I don't know. But she's supposedly very pissed with having to memorize lines and not, I guess, her role as a babyface. Maybe that's why she snapped and beat up Alexa Bliss with the reasoning for the suspension. Maybe she's going to come back a heel now just to make her happy. Sorry. Oh. And you know how the WWE made this big hoopla that Ronda Rousey's here forever. She signed a big 7-year contract. Supposedly it's all bullshit. Supposedly she's gone after the Royal Rumble. And she was supposedly supposed to win the title off of Nia Jax this Sunday. And she was going to go on to feud with Natalya, who was supposed to win the Money in the Bank match. And that didn't happen either. But supposedly after the Royal Rumble, she's gone. And we can thank this for a drunk Ric Flair who totally blew the... Maybe that's what the deal is, because Ric Flair blew the spot up and it was all over the dirt sheets prior to the Money in the Bank. But, yeah, she's not a hero with a long-term deal unless... Oh, because it was something about... Ric Flair said she still wants to stop and have kids. So, yeah, I guess this is probably just a big, quick Money in the Bank type thing for her bank. And then she's going to go take off and have some kids. And then after that, I can guarantee you, Ronda Rousey ain't going to be the same Ronda Rousey. The WWE probably ain't going to have any interest in her. I mean, Brie Bella had her kid now almost a year and some ago, and she is still not in ring shape. I almost cussed. So, yeah, I guess we're going to have to enjoy Ronda while she's here. And I will say she did have a good match on Sunday. For a chick who's never wrestled before and stuff, she sold like Dolph Ziggler, man. She was pretty damn good. I was impressed. I've been dogging on her talking or her promos ability now for a while, but hey, she can wrestle. I give her kudos. Supposedly Cena is in hot water because he's been advising Daniels about his contract and to hire ICBM partners. Daniel, of course, is being very cautious about signing another contract with WWE, and I would too. He wants creative control in his contract. They haven't given creative control to anybody. The last people were Hulk Hogan and I think Bret Hart. And if he gets that, that's going to be a big deal. And other perks, but those haven't come up. Or Daniels isn't signing, and I still don't think he should sign. Oh, God, it would be so great for him to show up in Ring of Honor New Japan again. Yeah, that's why he is. And that is why he is stuck in the mid-card push. I shouldn't say with who, because that's over with now. In case you missed it, Lio Rush, I guess that was his last farewell run on NXT when I saw him last. He is on his way to 205 Live. Does anybody watch that? I don't. Keith Lee has been at the Performance Center for over a month now. He was the last guy. Well, he was at the NXT TakeOver, of course, the big dude sitting in the crowd. He was finally being introduced to the crowd now. This guy, if the WWE uses him right, he will be something special. But I just don't see it. If you want to see a match of the year, go watch Donovan Dijak, Chris Donovan in NXT versus Keith Lee. I'm hearing something outside. That is a 5-star match for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Just so you can get an idea of who he is, and even for those nobodies who know who Chris Dijak is because you only watch WWE, you can get a good feel on him too. Enzo released a second song off his, I guess, his debut album. His first song was horrible. All of Us was about that chick. It had some funny lines in it, like there was some psycho bitch out in Phoenix who got down on this consensual penis. The video was it made more sense after you were explained what it all meant. But if you didn't, I think I had to watch a YouTube thing to be told what all of it meant. But I got the logistics of it. I mean, the chick at Enzo's character's funeral was supposed to be his accuser because the nose ring and the red hair, and she was laughing at his funeral. She ruined his career. But his new song is called "Bury Me a G," and it's actually not bad. I actually listened to it a few times and liked it. You can find it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that's where I watched and listened to it. Rumor mill with Brock Lesnar to possibly drop his title before SummerSlam. There was supposed to be a lot of... Well, that's probably because a lot of stuff got leaked already. Supposedly Roman was still on the market or the list to beat him at SummerSlam. Oh, yeah, that was prior. The Miz was supposed to win Money in the Bank, too, and he was going to go on to SummerSlam and top Roman Reigns and beat him for the title, and they were going to start feuding again like they were for the IC title, because Miz is supposed to be getting some main event push now all of a sudden, but obviously that didn't happen, and it didn't happen for Natalya either. I think it's because it got leaked. I don't know, but I would have liked to have seen that. Rumor is the WWE wants to bring back a faction group. An NWO group, possibly managed and led by Kevin Nash. What do I think of that? I don't know. They'll treat it a lot better this time around than they treated it the first time around. It was Nash, Hall, and Hogan. They buried that before they were even the WWE for a month. The first pay-per-view those guys were in, the NWO was dead. But it could be interesting with a Nash. I mean, we could get cameos from X-Pac and Hall and stuff like that. Possibly bring X-Pac in. He can still wrestle. The guy is, I don't know, 40. He can still go. He wrestles everywhere here in Florida. But that's just me talking. Madison Square Gardens is furious with the WWE because WWE only has been avoiding all their important Bay Area shows at Madison Square Garden, and they go to the cheaper to run at Barclays Center, like all the NXT takeovers and things like that. So Madison Square Garden was going to break their deal of only WWE can run there. The only thing the WWE had lined up there all year, it was in July, was a house show, and it's supposed to have The Undertaker at it or something. And so Madison Square Garden said they were opening their doors to all come-all be-alls, and supposedly MALL or MELL, that Mexican promotion was going to run there. Ring of Honor announced they had a show and a date with New Japan there, and of course, the WWE's like, I guess they stepped in and, who knows, lawyered up maybe, and the Madison Square Garden's no longer allowing that to happen. Who knows, if, like I said, if the WWE keeps avoiding them, why are they going to keep this agreement going? I think it's only a verbal agreement. It was something that was in place when Vince's dad was running the company. HBK, Mr. I'm staying retired. I'm always going to be retired because The Undertaker retired me, and I don't want to break my promise to The Undertaker. Now is talking about coming back to have one more match, which is a head-scratcher to me because if he wanted one more match, why didn't he go to that Greatest Royal Rumble event? They were literally handing out hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to bring people into that event. Granted, he wouldn't have won the Royal Rumble, but he would have had a good showing in it, and they probably would have paid him, God knows, $500,000 to $1 million. There was so much money being passed around for that. I still can't believe he passed it up. Even Stone Cold passed it up because the Saudi Prince wanted Stone Cold. Stone Cold's like, The Prince probably would have paid $1 million, $10 million, who knows, to have him. I mean, they brought in JR because the Saudi Prince wanted the cowboy hat guy there. I'm sure JR got paid real nice to come back. But yeah, now HBK wants a match. He's talking, though, you won't see HBK of old because he's been out of the ring for, 8 years. So he's like, I can be in a tag team match or something, possibly with Triple H, and fight some young up-and-comers. I'm sure the WWE will bite on that at some point, but, I'm sure he's just kicking rocks with that. It's just hearsay. But enough people give him pressure, I can guarantee you it's probably going to happen. Xavier Woods, Mr. Up, Up, Down, Down, gets his own character in Super Bomberman. I've seen it. He looks just like the blue, pink, yellow, and white New Day outfit with Francesca. Super Bomberman was like an old, if I remember right, an old NES Super Nintendo game, and it's being brought back on all platforms, and he's going to be in it. So kudos to Xavier Woods. Oh, okay, I'm getting the name wrong. Bobby Roode recently claimed the WWE is claiming to want to build another performance center, possibly overseas. I can see it happening because there's more that I'm going to talk about here in a couple of minutes. There's big plans for them overseas. This isn't the first time they've mentioned doing this. But I really think they're just stretching themselves so thin. I mean, you can't hire every person on the planet to wrestle for the company, man. I still don't get how NXT makes money other than the big pay-per-view shows. I mean, the house shows I go to in Florida are $20 for the ringside seats. My last show I went to had like almost every star on the damn roster. I mean, those guys are under contract, but how are they making money? I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. Daniel Bryan is rumored for, well, this is, yeah, because they're waving this in front of his face to get him to sign, I'm sure. Daniel Bryan is rumored for the main event at WrestleMania. What's the next one? 34, 35? With 4 options to wrestle. One being, AJ. One being Roman. One being The Miz, because The Miz was supposed to be getting some main event push. That would be great. I mean, he still hasn't gotten any sort of revenge on The Miz for his, 3-4 years of the crap he put up with him. Or Nakamura. I always said when they should have made a skit out of it on TV when Daniels got his letter of being cleared to wrestle again. He should have just calmly got up, left the room, and just started searching the building until he found Miz and just beat the shit out of him. And the Miz would have just gotten stomped and not known the reason, and then Daniels could have thrown the paper on his chest, and he would have seen and got all buggy. Oh, Daniel can wrestle again. They blew that opportunity. NXT talent Zeta. She came in she was made it all the way to the semifinals in the Mae Young Classic tournament, lost to Baszler. I've only seen her once ever, and it was in a tag team match, and I don't know, she didn't exactly wow, but I don't think that was her fault. Well, she was released recently by NXT. The Impact Grand title. I don't know why they did that, because they just bought the damn thing like last year. It was the only title that didn't have to put a magnetic strip on to say Impact after Global Force went away. Well, they unified it with the heavyweight title, which I still don't get either, because Mr. Belt Collector Austin Aries, that was another belt that he had gotten and collected. So now that title's gone. It might come back again in a year or two, like some of the other past mystery titles, but that title's gone. Stacy Keibler is pregnant with her second child. Kudos. Nick Aldis wants a big stipulation match with Cody Rhodes. He must be Ring of Honor champion, belt for him to put his belt on the line at All In. Cody Rhodes has yet to fight Dalton Castle, and I can see this happening because Dalton Castle is supposed to be fighting through injuries as champion. And if this is a stipulation for All In, it's going to happen. So expect Cody Rhodes to win the Ring of Honor title here pretty soon for that match. John Morrison in talks to join New Japan Pro Wrestling. He wants to, quote, expand his credentials and his legacy. I think that'd be good for him. I can't wait to see it. He'll be popping up on ROH and New Japan Pro Wrestling. That guy, and he's still in Lucha Underground. I just saw him on the first episode. I thought he was gone from that guy and he's still on Impact. This guy, he doesn't need to go back to the WWE. He makes so much money, it's not funny. And he still goes home. Mysterio, if signed with the WWE, wants to bring back the LWO with God, I didn't write down their names. The NXT last champion El Sion Almas, Grand Metalik, and Kalisto. For starters, that's who he wants in his group. But they've been talking about bringing him back now for months. It's obviously not going to happen if he's not there yet. Tony Storm recently signed with the WWE. More on that to come in this broadcast. I'll let you know. New Day versus the Elite. It just happened at E3. It was not a ring match. It was a Street Fighter match. Kofi beat Nick Jackson, I believe, and Big E beat Matt. And it came down to, of course, Omega versus Xavier in a best-of-5 series. And Xavier Omega was getting his butt kicked, then he came back, then they tied up. And it literally was down to the last match. Omega beat Xavier, and he did not let it go lightly. Omega is a one-liner machine. You need to watch that on YouTube, too. It's about an hour or so long, but it's worth it. I mean, he ripped into Big E. He ripped into Xavier a bunch of times. Ripped into New Day. Freaking catch. But kudos to him. He won. Pete Dunne wins a non-WWE wrestling title with Millie McKenzie. They are tag champions of Pro Wrestling Revolver. I don't know what to say, but hey, I'm just letting you know. All right. Ellsworth, who was rumored to return at Money in the Bank, obviously returned at Money in the Bank and helped Carmella win, but it was, what did she do? She schoolgirled Asuka for it was so stupid. But it was said he was advertised for SmackDown this week, which he was on. There hasn't been anything saying that he's back, but the way that Corey Graves carried on during the show about him, it made it sound like he was back at least for a while now. Multiple wrestling superstars were robbed at the Sheraton, including Lana and Rusev. Rusev's wallet wasn't stolen, but they stole all of his money, and Lana's camera was stolen. Now I can guarantee there's a bunch of naughty shit on that, so expect some leaks there. Paige's stuff was supposed to have been broken into, and it said all the other superstars, but they never listed who. So they're supposed to be going to sue the Sheraton, and you can't tell me the Sheraton. I've been robbed in a hotel before too, and they didn't do anything about it. I'm in my shower, taking a shower, broad daylight, just ordered a pizza, fresh from Papa John's. I get out, the pizza's gone, and the wallet, my money in my wallet's missing. Nobody ever knocked on my door. The maids were cleaning on the floor. I went downstairs and complained to the management, and they're like, there's nothing we can do about it. We won't ever know who did it. Bullshit. Every floor has cameras on. They just, the WWE, those guys are going to clean house with the Sheraton. All right. Where is Sanity and Authors of Pain? Of course, like I said, some of this stuff is old. They were being held off of TV because at Money in the Bank, there was also supposed to be a tag team Money in the Bank match with AOP, Sanity, and a couple other groups, but obviously that didn't happen. Sanity did debut this last Tuesday on SmackDown, kind of like, they got jumped by the Usos, and then they beat the Usos up. Oh, Sanity's here. Not the debut, I thought. In AOP, they're still just held off of TV. Like I said, if they had nothing for them and they weren't confident, why did they bring them up? Lucha Underground is back. They had an open tournament for Pentagon Dark, a.k.a. Pentagon Junior's heavyweight title that he won from Puma at the end of last year's season finale. Notables in this tournament that showed there was like 15 guys. It was like a 15-man battle royal. Notables that showed up, Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. Johnny Nitro, Johnny whatever, Tommy Dreamer, Sami Callihan, Joey Ryan, Jesse Goddard, Hernandez, Phoenix, Chavo Guerrero. Those were the bigger names. With all these new hires, there's going to be people's let go. I've specifically read they haven't let anybody go until after the deadline of September 1st. So none of the people who can be let go can join All In. But rumored so far, people who are going to be let go, Alicia Fox. If you haven't heard already, Big Cass was fired the other day. Finally, he didn't get the we wish him all the best in the future endeavors, which told you something happened. I read today that he was furious about something that happened at Money in the Bank and was just going crazy backstage after the fight, and that was supposedly the straw that broke the camel's back. He already had heat on him for beating up that midget in that midget promo match. He had a 2-minute meeting with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon fired him. So Big Cass is gone. Big Van Vader, if you didn't know, he is passed. He died on Monday at 7:25 p.m. at the age of 63. He had heart failure. He was battling pneumonia for a month or so, and his son said he was just coming out of it, and I think he died in his sleep. Foley did try to get the WWE to put him into the Hall of Fame this year before he passed, so he could be there to get the award and talk. He was originally going in, and who'd they replace him with? Wasn't it like Hellbilly Jim or something? So stupid. So now Vader, when he goes in, it'll just be his son standing up there waving. But Big Van Vader, all-time legend, he is gone. The All-In event is in the process of gaining licensing to broadcast the event live, so that's good for us. WWE, I already said, sabotage Ring of Honor show date at Madison Square Garden. WWE announces a new UK brand, NXT UK. They are working on a TV deal, new belts, new women's division, the works. Legendary UK wrestler Johnny Saint is the GM. So look for that coming up. That'll probably be on the network. Undertaker recently showed up at a Post Malone show, chokeslam Post Malone, and then later came back out and helped Malone and somebody else destroy the set. I think that was it. Wow, you got it all through. Yeah, that was all it. I just want to say with the Vader passing, Vader was always a favorite of mine. God. I never got to see his New Japan stuff until the YouTube, but I got to see his debut matches. I was just thinking about him like last week and was going through a bunch of his history. He had one of the greatest entrances ever, especially for back then with his mask. Go watch his Bash the Beach? No. His 1990 debut in WCW at some pay-per-view. Nobody even knew who he was, and he was just so over the minute he walked through the curtain. I knew who he was through wrestling magazines, PWI and all that stuff, but you could tell the fans knew nothing of him. He walked out and was just in awe. He's one of the only few Americans, men, to go over to Japan and win the IWGP heavyweight title. Literally, I think the list is still under 12. It's like Hogan, Goldberg, Lesnar, AJ Styles, Scott Norton, Vader. Now it'd be Kenny Omega, but no, he's Canadian. Gosh, see, you see what I mean? I mean, the list is small, but anyways, like I said, he was a big man in the wrestling game. I was always impressed with his moonsaults. I always thought as a kid, because I wanted to be a wrestler, I was like, man, I would never want to take a moonsault from him. But yeah, Vader's gone, passed. I'll probably make another separate video for him on my channel, and I'll post some of the stuff that I want people to see, his highlight matches. Granted, he's called a WWE legend, but the WWE only really took him serious for like maybe 6 to 8 months, and then they just put him in ridiculous stuff. Like, he literally had like a year-long feud with Goldust. Then towards the end of his contract, they started treating him normal again. That's when they paired him up with Mick Foley and Paul Bearer, and they'd fight like The Undertaker and stuff, but I don't think they ever won any titles. Or, like I said, the WWE didn't treat him like the star he was. HBK refused to wrestle him. And WC left WCW towards the end of his run because Hogan refused to wrestle with him because he was a monster. He was trained in Japan, and he wasn't known for being easy to wrestle with, I guess. He was before his time. He's the reason Mick Foley lost his ear. Oh, God, yeah. I'll find that video where I think it's Stan Hansen punches Vader's eyeball out of his head, and Vader's just like puts it back in his head and keeps on fighting. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, share. Please hit the notification button. New subscribers, welcome. Follow me on Instagram. I don't know. I think it must be because of Christian. I got like a bunch of new followers just the other day, last couple of days. But anyways, that's it for now, guys. Hit like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. I'm not going to promise anything. Like I said, the next video I want